What are some kind of like environment, kind of, potential problems to be mindful of?
Well, obviously first would definitely be temperature. A lot of people don't realize that, not only does hot cause an issue, but also cold. Then even that, the electronics themselves, they don't like to go hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. They want to stay as stable of a temperature as possible. So even if you're restarting your miner or you're unplugging it, plugging it, you're cooling it down and then you're heating it back up. And all that heating and cooling is causing expansion and contraction. And over time, all of a sudden, next thing you know, one of your solder joints goes out and you have zero ASIC.
Gotcha.
So having a good stable temperature is ideal. Another one would definitely be like particulates in the air. So you want to make sure that, you're filtering all that kind of stuff out. You don't want any kind of corrosives like salt. If you're next to an ocean, you want to make sure that you're doing extra steps to make sure that salt's not getting into your units. Same thing with humidity. So you mix humidity with particulates, you get corrosion. So you want to make sure your humidity is not only too high, but if it gets too low, you're also going to get static. So you want to make sure that you have that kind of Goldilocks zone for these things.
Nice. What about like the introduction of immersion or hydro? Is that going to potentially warrant some of these environmental issues? Or does that just open up a brand new can of worms for that environment?
I'd say it's a little of both for sure. It's a completely different system, so it's like a whole nother animal. Same kind of concepts, instead of a fan, you have a pump. Your fan or your pump goes out, you might end up overheating your unit, and there goes your investment. Especially with some of these other ones, hydro and immersion, even though it's kind of new to the industry, it's actually pretty old when it comes to like electronics. Even immersion was created just for the process of cooling transformers. They weren't able to necessarily sell it for transformer use because they didn't see, upfront expense versus, savings over time. Government really didn't want to expense it. So they decided to take that over to like data centers. And then now more recently, they're moving it over to crypto.
Is it kind of moving in a pretty similar trajectory as compared to other tech industries?
Yes and no. I see that it's definitely makes it a lot easier to incorporate into regenerative heating, like reusing that heat, taking it and, putting it in your hot water heater. And then now you're taking a, hot Bitcoin shower kind of thing. You can't really do that very easily with air. Yeah, just really depends. I could create, an air system that's way far superior than your immersion system. If you wanted to, I can create a good enough system that we can take the fans off and it'll just be, forced air. But just kind of got to weigh, cost and the system itself and everything like that.
No, that's interesting. You're in the industry, I'm in the industry. In the past year, I think we both noticed the turn towards Bitmain and these other manufacturers promoting their hydro systems, promoting their systems for immersion cooling. You see a lot of talk about it, but it's way more complicated than that. And, like you're saying, it really depends on what it is you're trying to build out and, what are the challenges you need to address in order to build that out properly. One thing I do think is cool about, like you said, immersion and hydro is that, the ability to take this heat that's being produced and to turn it around into something else, something useful, keeping it cyclical within your own system. Ultimately, that's something I want to see more of just on a smaller scale. I don't know about the feeling of having like 10,000 ASICs blowing in my face. But it seems like it's a little overwhelming, not only for the operations, but also for someone who is then going to have to come in and diagnose and fix, and kind of like deal with the mess at hand. Personally, I would like to see more education towards, just someone like me plugging in an S19 and then being able to use it for my heating, being able to use it for my water heater and all that.